All right, so this is the second part of the for analysis, right? So we have in the previous part we have successfully obtained our user profile table, and then we now have our user retention and churn incremental churn table. So for the remaining part uh, of this lesson, we shall be focusing on how to tie everything we've done so far, how to tie them together to um, as in bring them to business context, right? Apply them to our business decision and making process. So the first thing we would want to do is we already know our average user retention, right? On average, and we also have data or information about the cohort age we are interested in, right? I mean the age of our cohorts. Now, let me quickly copy, let me quickly bring this to quickly bring it here. I'll copy this, Control C, then paste it here. But before I do that, let me call this okay, I've pasted. Let me call this customer lifetime value, which is CLTV or CLV. So I prefer to call it CLV, customer lifetime value, right? Is the analysis. That's what we want to achieve here, right? We want to know how much revenue or income our customer will bring to us um, in the course of the number of months or years they spend patronizing our business, right? And the knowledge or insight we get from this kind of analysis will inform a number of our marketing or business decisions. First, we would want to know beforehand if certain group of customers will be profitable, like if our business will profit from a certain group of customers over time, right? And then we would also need this kind of insights to inform whether the market, I mean, to justify the marketing spend, how much we should allot to a certain group of customers in acquiring them. Like how much should we spend in our advertisements or in whatever other marketing investments we're making, right? So if you know beforehand that a certain group of let's say that over the period of years our customers are going to spend with us, that we would end up being profitable, let's say in the first month or in the second month or in the third month, and so on and so forth, then we can rationally I mean uh, um, use that knowledge to infer, like to guide us in whether we should really invest in the marketing in marketing to get those customers on board. But when you discover that on the other hand that you would not make any profit in getting these customers, perhaps they are customers that have high churn rate, right? Or maybe they are not just your ideal audience also sort of. So then it then becomes pertinent for you to now justify, maybe okay, for this reason I may not want to go after this group of customers. And then another way to also look at it is if you have different marketing channels, let's say social media, normal traditional advertising and the rest, or conferences and the rest, and definitely all these have their different costs, right? So some may be more expensive than the others. So in prioritization, right, the insight you get from this analysis will now help us to prioritize. If we have a very high value um, customer profile, let's say our customers over the course of their stay with us, we tend to gain a lot more from them, right, than we invested, then we can explore, we can have higher confidence in investing more, which could also include exploring as many other channels, that even the expensive ones, that through which you can acquire these customers, right, than others, right. So the insights we get from this can help us to make all these decisions over time. And how do we arrive at that? Number one, we have to know the baseline data, which is what we have successfully gotten here, like our average retention, right? And then we also have to know other baseline data we need are things like your marketing acquisition cost. That is how much it will cost you to get how much it will cost you to get let's say in terms of marketing spend, how much it will cost you to get certain number of customers. You can get it, it could be acquisition cost per user, or on a general let's say value, let's say total number of customers you acquired, total amount it costs you to acquire all the customers you have, right, within the cohort. So those are some of the baseline. Some other okay, yeah, we have the marketing acquisition cost. We can also have enrich this data with other baseline information like subscription, let's say subscription fee, and other similar data, right? With this, you can begin to apply your um, like you can begin to plug in your values to this and then use it to get the resulting number of the other all those other business metrics you are looking to get, right. So now let's bring this value here, our average retention. I want to copy this average retention, which is our baseline data, right. I'm doing it at sorry, I'm doing it at, let's say, overall level. Let's say, remember we have 12 cohorts here, right? But I just want to do it on an average basis, which is now considering all our customers. But nothing stops you. If you are really interested in a particular cohort, then nothing stops you from coming to pick your value from here, right? Instead of this one includes every single cohort we have within here. But if I'm interested in a particular cohort, right? Remember this could a cohort here, as we mentioned in the first part of this video, is a group of users or customers that have something in common, right? They share certain things in common. It could be age group, it could be the time they joined your funnel, it could be any other thing. So if you're interested in that particular cohort, you can pick the average, the baseline data, right? We have, but in this for the purpose of demonstration, right, we are only interested in the overall average, right? So I want to bring in this value. One way I can do it is just to simply highlight, to simply select the entire row and copy. But I want to make it as dynamic as possible, right? So that my value is always tied to this. So that as long as my data is connected to, as long as this worksheet is pointing to the right customer data, which is this one that we have here in our data source, as long as it is connected to this, then everything can be updating in real time, because we expect things to change over time. So instead of copying it, I will just come here and then um, let's say create a column here, and then let's call this a average retention and percentage, right? Then I call these values in here, which is this, right? So let me use formula to connect them. So this is equal to this column, right? Then I can drag to the last one, right? So this is similar to this, just that the formatting is different. This is an one decimal place, this is in zero decimal place. So let me copy the style and then apply it to that to these ones too. Right, so everything is now showing in one decimal place, right? So I don't want this style. Oh, sorry, I don't want this style. So I think I'll need to go a step back or two. So we have it. Let me quickly apply the decimal place here instead, the formatting here instead. So this now gives me my one decimal place. So this row this row is always connected to this one. So if a value here changes, I let's say I enter the value here like 45 or 50, right? You would expect the value here to populate. Although, yeah, sorry, 50 would now be 0.5, right, in percentage, right? So let's say 0.5. So you expect 50% here, right? So showing that they are connected, they are linked together, and whatever um, updates or changes that affect this data would always reflect here. And I think that's better than copying it, right? So I think I've lost the formatting I applied. Let me reapply that. Select that, then go back here, then yeah. All right, so we have this baseline data. The other baseline data we want to bring up here is our users, right? Since we know our user retention, right, like we know how our users are going to likely drop off over time, or how long we are how many of them we tend to get to retain over time, right? So let's say I have this column for users. That's the number of users, right? Then if I in the first month of the period I'm analyzing, right, I have, let's say I have 300 users, right? I would want to see how many of these remained. Could be in absolute term or in percentage, right, up till the last month. So for that, um my user retention data tells me that on average in the first month after 1 month I tend to retain only 35% of the users, right? So how can I so if I know the number of users I acquire for the first month, right, this could be those that signed up in that period, right? So if I know that, then I can connect this. So this is now going to be equal to, for the second month, the second month is now going to be total number of users, right, multiplied by their user retention for that month, right, which gives me sorry yeah which gives me 106.5 users, but we can't have half user. So let me set this to zero decimal place. Let me set this to zero decimal. So that's about 107 users, right? Now for the after 2 months, how many of them are still going to remain? How do I get that? I would get that by multiplying this by this, right? So that will be equal to, or I can quickly drag this, rather quickly drag it to the end, really. Okay, let me see if the equation is correct. No, it is wrong. The equation is wrong. So I need to lock this. I need to give this an option, since I would always want to multiply by the number we started with, right? So I'll do it as let me edit this one as usual and lock it. So it will always, this one is already fixed. So I'll put a dollar sign in front of, yeah, before it, so that it always divides by that number instead of floating. Yeah, this is all we want. So here now, for instance, for this very one, you can see that it's going to divide, it's going to multiply the retention for that cohort age by the total number of users we acquired. So in after 2 months, we would have 92 customers out of our 300 customers left. After 3 months, we'll have 83, 69, and so on and so forth. So that is what this is telling us. This is how our users are going to remain till, this is how until the last group of users drop off after month 11, right? So by month 12, all of them are gone. So that's what this tells us. So now the and then how do you know this, right? You know this because you know this from the data of your business, right? As a business, after running a campaign, you can you definitely know how many, or maybe from your user database, you definitely know number of users that signed up for a product in a given month. That's from your start month, right? So we are moving from the known to the unknown. So this, remember, we only typed in this one, which is the as the one for the current month or the start time. Then the rest here are like a projection into the future, right? Based on our data. Then the other thing we want to do here now, having known the number of users we have and how many of them are going to be left out. I mean, how many of them are going to stick with our business in the months, as the years, as the months, as they are, as the months go by, right? The next thing to now check for is revenue, right? But then, not just revenue. For us to know our revenue, definitely we should know monthly subscription, right? How much each, on average, each user is meant to pay for the product. So I can get monthly monthly subscription or monthly fee, right? So there are two ways I can do this. I can do it on an average, right? Or if, yeah, I think it's okay to do it on average, right? But if it's something that you know would fluctuate over time, let's say the amount the user pays in 1 month changes in the next month and all that, and you find you can have a way to plug this, then you can still do that. But to keep things simple, we can do it. We can just make it a constant, right? So let's format this. Let's say a user is paying 25 naira in the first month. Let's say on average, an average user pays 25 naira for a product. So let's format this as a currency. Let me format this as a currency quickly, and then for the naira sign. Okay, we have it here, right? Then let's set it at one decimal place, right? Okay, so we have monthly subscription fee of 25. Sorry, what is this? 25. So I think there's a mistake here. It should come after it. So let me quickly format it again. Okay, so go back, format as a currency. Yes, then, well, dollar is okay. Let's go with dollar, right? So the we now have this as the average fee per month. And remember, this is one of your baseline data that you should have as a business, right? Including this one, you should have this as a business. But these other ones would come from the um, analysis we just performed. So if a user is to pay $25 each month, then revenue, how much are we making every month? Revenue. Then revenue is now going to be what? We have number of users, total number of users multiplied by monthly fee per user, right? So it's now going to be um, users for that month multiplied by um, monthly fee, right? So that gives me $7,500 for the month, right? So, but if, for instance, in our case, we assume that for the first month, let's say the first month we offer the free subscription and the users don't need to pay for the first month, then you can safely put zero here, right? So let me cut this. That means we can start this. So you can safely put zero here, right? That means we are um, going to have for subsequent months, let's say for subsequent months, we'll start having values. But that will not be the case here, so I would quickly go back. Yeah, this is what we had before. Really? Okay, go back. Come on. Okay, monthly fee of $225, right? Then coming to revenue now, revenue, we have equal to this multiplied by this, right? And monthly fee multiplied by the number of users we have, right? So I want to lock this since I would always want to multiply by this one, the monthly fee. So let me quickly lock monthly fee by adding a dollar sign before it, right? So we now have it like this. I can now drag to the last one, right? So it means in the first month, out of our 300 users, on average, each of them is to pay $25, right? So in the first month, we will make $7,500 from them. After in the very first month they join, then second month we'll make 2,600, third month 2,200, and so on and so forth, right? Now this gives us breakdown of revenue by month. So the other thing we would now want to check is average revenue, that's revenue per user, right? Which is pretty simple. Revenue per user, right? So revenue per user will now be what? That will now give us some. Okay, before we get revenue per user, we need to get total revenue first, right? So let me delete this and come down somewhere here. Total revenue, right? So what, having known what the monthly revenue breakdown of revenue per month looks like, I can get the total revenue by just summing up all this. So I can do total revenue is equal to sum. Then I now select up till the last. So that gives me $22,500. After that means I would make $22,500 after 12 months of doing business with these people. And then obviously here is about as a they stick around for like 11 months. But then since our time frame is 12 months, right? That means within um 1 year plus we are making 22,500 from them. Now to check if this group of customers is now what in spending certain amount of money on, right? Let's say it costs us on average, um, it costs us in ad spend and other marketing expenses. It costs us certain amount. Let's get the field for that, which is marketing acquisition cost, right, in absolute terms, or you can do it per user or in absolute terms. So let's say in all it costs us let's say how much, $15,000, 15,000, right, to get these people. Let me format this. If it costs us $15,000 to get this 300 users, right, in marketing, right, then it's now time to check the profitability. We have made a revenue of 22,000, right? So we can now get the next thing before we. Okay, let me quickly shape this so no, to just be sure that I'm done with everything that has to do with revenue. So this is now time to get revenue per user, right? So if I have 22,500 for 300 users, then it's now going to be revenue per user is now going to be total revenue divided by number of users I acquired, right? The total number of users acquired. So each user is returning 75 $13 or so, right? So this gives me the revenue per user. And you can go further. We used our marketing acquisition cost in absolute terms. Let's say we can also do it in terms of a per user, right? So by the time you compare the revenue per user to the marketing acquisition cost, then you can now get your to know whether it is a profitable this thing, a profitable group, a profitable investment, right? But then you also have to bear in mind that these are just based on projections, based on historical data, right? So there's no guarantee you're going to get exactly this. You could get something higher or lower, right? So we have our revenue per user, and then we have our total revenue. We have we already know our marketing acquisition cost, and then we know the number of users we have in our, within that period, right? Now, what are some other things that you can get from this? You can start maybe checking, let's say margins. Let's say you want to check the return on investment. Assuming marketing spend is the only investment you made. Let's say marketing. Okay, let's just look at it on a broader sense of the return you are going to make. If you spend $15,000 to get this number of customers, right? How what is like the profitability now? So let's do like ROI. And to get ROI, we're going to get the difference, right? Difference between the revenue, total revenue, which is like the return, and the marketing cost. This is like okay profit ratio, right? So I can divide, let's say, get the difference now. This, or let me put it in parentheses, total revenue minus total marketing acquisition cost, right? Divided by marketing acquisition cost, the amount what it costs to acquire these people. So it gives me 0.5, which is about 50%. So if I format it as a percentage, it gives me about 50%, right? So which means if I invest $15,000 to get these customers in marketing, then after 12 months, I should get um extra 50% return, right? But if this gives me a negative value, then it means I'm not making profit. Instead, I'm making running a loss. But thankfully, we have a positive figure here, right? So with this, we can see how everything we've done so far ties together, like how they can help us make wise decision as a business, right? So it's also an opportunity to play around. You can also do a number of, let's say, play around with a number of figures here. Assuming I say, since I noticed there's a high drop in retention between months zero and I mean 0 and 1, between the first and the second month they are with us, right? If I increase this retention by say instead of 35.5%, I increase this to raise it to like about 50%, right? What's going to be our return? So you see that by raising this to 50%, my ROI would increase to about 58%, right? By just increasing the retention rate. And what are those strategies you can use to increase retention rate? Number one, you'd have to intensify your customer service, um, the quality of service you offer to your customers. If it requires improvement, like first of all, you have to know the reason why these people are leaving your business to start with. Is it that the product is not delivering the intended value, or is it that you don't have users? Let's say in that first month, you don't offer a kind of a smooth onboarding such that users get they don't know how to use this product, they don't know how to derive this product, I mean the value from this product within the first month. Or is it possible that perhaps you there are some other hidden challenges, some other maybe poor communication, poor engagement, poor onboarding experience, poor or high cost of initial investment. Let's say for that first month, the user gets to pay certain high amount that now to increase the retention, right? You can apply the insight you get from this to now know which strategy now suits you to increase the retention rate. It could be offering some let's say some other incentives. Let's say before the user exhausts their first month subscription, you can send them another offer or let's say you propose um, a higher value. Instead of you paying X amount, pay Y amount for the same value. Since you already know that these people are likely to drop after the first month, you are proactive enough to offer incentives or offer them certain packages, mouth-watering packages that would help keep them to your business, right? So these are the things that this kind of analysis can help us achieve. So I'll quickly go back to that. Now we have our cohort analysis performed, and we already have the customer lifetime value and others already performed. Now, the truth is that this report is not really so friendly, and I can easily screw up a number of things here. For instance, it's not intuitive enough for it can overwhelm users because you as the analyst you may have designed, but the people that would eventually interact with this might not be um, as versatile or as technical as you the designer of the dashboard. So what we want to now do is we want to make this as intuitive as possible, and let me quickly show us how to do that. So in this um, remaining part of the or the video or the lesson, we are going to look at how to put all these things, how to tie all these together, and then create a sort of a basic dashboard for this um, for assessing this report, right?